For today's good question, Kay says we have a utility easement across our backyard, which includes a pole. With the new internet providers adding lines, our backyard has been busy. She said this will be fine, but they've left loose wires hanging from the pole draped across their backyard, and others are laying exposed on the grounds. She wants to know, who do I contact to get the utility wires cleaned up? Okay, Kay told me she has to keep her grandchildren away from that part of her backyard right now. I checked with the Kentucky Public Service Commission. Linda Bridwell with them told me that they don't regulate phone or internet utilities, but there are some steps that Kay could take. In Fayette County, you could call 311. The engineering division may be able to help. The second option, which should work in Fayette County or anywhere else in the state, is to contact your electric provider. Bridwell told me one utility will own the poles. Basically, everyone else rents space to attach their wires. So even if the pole doesn't belong to the electric provider, they should know who owns it, perhaps who is doing work on it. The owner of the pole will be the best to help with cleaning it up. As a safety issue, the electric provider will probably not want wires on the ground, even if it is a different service. If you have a good question, you can email goodquestion@wkyt.com. I'll see you on WKYT Mornings.